This podcast is part of the Everyday Heroes Podcast Network, the network for first responders and those who support them.
It's Scissors and Scrubs.
Hello.
Well, it's Christmas time, so a little bonus episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Laura.
And we're going to do a little ripped from the headlines, a very little ripped from the headlines. Because we don't have a lot of
Little
this.
teeny bit stripped.
But there's stuff that we talk, like it comes across and we got to get it out there, so it's going to be small. Okay. Number one from thebostonglobe.com.
Ooh.
Now, this is stuff that, well, this particular doesn't happen all the time, but we'll get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyway, I'm going to read right from the article because it's just easier that way.
Okay.
So I won't read the whole article because it's way long. The longtime head of spine surgery at a Boston medical center, I'm not going to say which one, has been reprimanded by state regulators and fined $5,000 for leaving an OR before the start of an emergency ankle surgery to go eat in his parked car, where he fell asleep and missed the procedure.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Tony Tanori, 54, admitted that he woke up in his car. This is a couple of years ago, too.
Yeah.
At this teaching hospital and was told that the chief resident had performed the operation he was supposed to oversee according to the consent order released on Monday by the Mass Board of Registration in Medicine. He didn't return to the hospital until the following day. Like, that's quite some nap. So would you get up after having your Italian sub in your car? In the garage? Why are you eating it in your car?
I don't understand that part. I don't understand. He brought the patient to the operating room.
Right. Yep.
Then went while they prep, which they do. You know, I'm going to go get a snack. I'm going to get a drink of water, coffee. You know, like while they're prepping, draping, going to sleep, all that. They do that. And then, why did you go to the car to eat? Like, why didn't you just eat there?
In your office, in
lounge,
the
in your
cafeteria,
office,
in the lounge. Like, well, exactly. And then you
Yeah.
took a nap? At what point did you think a nap was okay?
Well, I think he probably just was like, you know, he'd probably been operating all day, closed his eyes, and then woke up hours later.
Days later. Let's see. He wanted to be fully transparent to the patient, so they wanted to, and so they would go. The board said to the patient what had happened, and that the outcome was positive, and the patient was all set. He did have to pay fees, but it does get into the fact that he did escort the patient to the OR and then fell asleep. Like I said, it's a long article, and I think it happened to him before. But you know, it gets into what this one said and what this one said. And a lot of this is heightened because the Globe did that spotlight on the surgeons at MGH that were overlapping. But that happens all the time.
It happens across the country.
Right. It happens
And they said
all
that
the time.
they had to redo all, like, across the country's policies on that because
fellows start a case, fellows finish the case. But this guy, I believe, had not even been in. It wasn't the first time he had not been at the critical part of a surgery.
Yes.
During what he was supposed to be doing. And they get into another doctor. Give me a second. It's in here. Another doctor that did something. Okay, so this guy, this is what it says with him. He left the OR when the patient was being prepped for surgery and before the surgery began, intending to get something to eat prior to performing the surgery. Bought something to eat in his parked car and fell asleep in the vehicle. Again, I don't know why you're eating in your parked car. Another hospital at Mount Auburn, this is the one.
Yeah.
He left the patient so he could cash his paycheck.
That is a completely different thing.
How do you not have direct deposit?
He was a raging drug addict.
Yeah.
But
because he was a raging drug addict. Right. He was left
but
lying.
He literally was in the middle of the surgery and then realized what time it was and was like, shit, I have to get to the bank before it closes, and left to go to the bank. Like,
just can't.
What? Like, who? Yeah. What? Like,
left to go to the bank, cash his check.
Yeah.
And the patient was left lying on the OR table and anesthetized with an open incision. Never good. But he was grappling with a serious drug problem and then proceeded to lose his medical license.
Yeah,
his life spun out of control.
A serious drug problem.
And he ended up facing a barrage of criminal charges. So this just gets back to surgeons and how they do things. I mean, we used to do so many surgeries, orthopedic surgeries on a Saturday or Sunday. Mm-hmm. And the surgeons just would go back and forth to the rooms, which I didn't see a problem with because when we were dealing with, they were there for the case.
Yes.
Like, so, the residents get it started, the residents finish closing, and then they would start the next case. I don't see the problem with that, but they blew it up into a huge fucking deal.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody did it. It made it sound like just one hospital was doing that. It was all across all teaching hospitals did that.
Yes.
And it was, like you said, like you have a fellow whose job it is. They are allowed to do that stuff. But I think people don't realize that. Even though it is on the consent forms, it is written there. Right. I don't think people realize.
When you go to a teaching hospital, that's what happens.
Yeah.
You know, fellows are working on you, residents are working on you. It's what they do.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of funny that he fell asleep in his car while he was. I would love to know what he was eating.
I know what made you so full, like the leftover Thanksgiving
It had to be
dinner.
turkey. It had to be turkey.
Right? Maybe
you know,
it was like I think it was the winter.
Maybe he drank it with a glass of warm milk.
Maybe I just got tired. Had the heat going a little bit.
Thank you. He's so sleepy. All right, so the next subject we're talking about, by the time you hear about this, is a little bit old, but still something I think we need to talk about.
Well, it was the Astroworld disaster. So I got this from the New York Times. I kind of just synopsis. On November 5th at around 9 p.m., Travis Scott takes the stage at the Astroworld Festival in Houston, Texas. He is this is like his festival. He's the headliner of Astroworld. There's different stages all day. It's a music festival. Yeah. There's different stages with different artists performing. 9 p.m., that's the headline. Travis Scott is on this main stage. As he takes the stage, everybody that's at the concert wants to get to that main stage. Yep. So they're all, 50,000 of them are trying to get to the main stage.
50,000.
All of a sudden, yeah.
Someday we'll have a concert with 50,000 people coming to listen to Scissors and Scrubs. Someday.
So they're starting to push forward. You can only push forward so far because then there's a big, huge stage in front of you. So there's nowhere to go. So people are being squished just where they were standing.
Yep.
The whole sea is moving, but no one's actually... You're not walking. You're just being moved with the crowd.
Yeah.
So by being squeezed together and not being able to move at all, this mass is moving, but no one is individually moving. They can't breathe.
Yeah. They
are being asphyxiated standing up. Everyone's like, oh, they were on the ground. No, they were passing out to get to the ground.
And then when they get on the ground, they may get trampled.
Right. So when you can't exhale or inhale because you're being squeezed in your chest, you have a rise of CO2, you have a decrease of O2, and you pass out because your brain needs those less CO2 and more O2 to function. So once there's any space in the wave of people, like someone broke free on the right, so it moves a little bit, your body that's now standing up, passed out, falls to the ground. And then the wave keeps moving and tramples over you. People are being fallen on top of, they get crushed. This leads to head injuries because you're falling to the ground and people are stomping on your head. Anoxic brain injuries from not being able to breathe for a significant amount of time. Getting crushed by the crowd standing on you, falling on you, laying on you, which causes chest and abdominal injuries, internal bleeding, the whole nine, and you're not being able to breathe. More than 300 people were treated at a failed hospital there. Over 12 people were in cardiac arrest at the venue. God. And supposedly there was only one defibrillator there.
For 50,000 people.
50,000 people. Supposedly. I mean, 8 people died at the concert. Dozens were brought to the hospitals. 2 more people died in the days following, so it brought the death toll to 10. One was a 9-year-old. He was sitting on his father's shoulders when the crowd swept them up. The father got asphyxiated from the crowd and passed out, obviously.
And the kid went down with him.
When he woke up, the kid is no longer anywhere near him. He had been trampled by the crowd.
That is awful.
Yeah. He was brought, the 9-year-old was brought to the hospital, put on life support, but he was taken off life support several days later.
And here you are thinking you're going to save your kid because he's out of the crowd on your shoulders.
Right. He's okay. He's not getting crushed, but you pass out and that's that.
Have you ever been in a crowd like that?
I mean, obviously not to that extent, but I've been in a crowd where you can't stop
moving.
You
have no control.
You can't turn or move a different way. You have to move with the crowd.
I mean, you've heard me tell the story a million times, but right after I started working in the OR, they had a free concert at the Esplanade for Green Day. This is how long ago it was. Green Day could still do a free concert. I was like, fucking go. This would be great. And the crowd at Green Day, I don't even know if they still do them anymore, but there was mosh pits everywhere. Yeah. And so in the back of the crowd, they're all moshing. And, we're walking through this. I'm like, in a mosh pit with somebody's goddamn bike. Why would you bring a bike in? I don't know. And I didn't mean to be in there. This was not, I want to mosh. I was accidentally thrown in there. And the girl I was with is tiny. And the crowd was getting like that. It was getting tighter and tighter. And we were getting squished more and more. She starts having a panic attack. There's, thousands of people around us. by the grace of God, I swear sometimes I think God really is sitting on my shoulder and is like, come on, stop being an idiot. Somebody picked her up and threw her over the gates. I'm like, hey, I'm with her. Wait a minute. And they threw me over the gates. So now we're between the gates and the stage. Mm-hmm. And a sound guy's like, come stand with me. So we did. And I don't think Reindeer was on for a minute. They were barely on. They pulled the plug on them because now the crowd's getting out of control. Yeah. And I'm telling you, the feeling before we got thrown over, I had no control of my movements. Mm-hmm. I had to do whatever the crowd was doing. Yeah. Not a good feeling. No. Never want to be like that again. The crowd lost their mind. The state troopers come out. They stop macing the crowd. People are walking by bloody. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. What am I in the middle of? Thank God. No, like, I didn't get hurt. She didn't get hurt. Nobody was serious or hurt that day. But you hear about this. You ever hear about the Who concert where 11 people were trampled? Yeah. Like, we should cover that one day. Yeah. So it's just so sad and it's so scary because you go out for a great night and then...
Yeah, come home dead.
Did you ever hear about anybody in the crowd being dosed or something like that?
So there was some... So nothing is... So if you look into any of this, nothing is even... Like, they won't even say how these people... Like, were they succeeded standing up? Did they go into cardiac arrest? Did they overdose? Like, you have no idea why these people...
died.
I mean, obviously, there was a surge of people, but they haven't released anything. But there was that story, like, one of the security people being injected.
Yes.
But then someone said... Then later it came... Like, he was like, no, I was hit in the head and passed out.
Oh, right.
I don't, but they said they gave him Narcan and revived him, so I have no.
And then he has like a pinprick on his neck,
right? Which would be very hard to find, especially in a.
That's what I was thinking. The huge, gigantic man too.
But I'm like, whatever. I don't know. But they said there was more police there than they had at the World Series this year.
Wow.
But nothing was like
organized. Done. Nothing was organized. I don't think ever there should be general seating. Ever.
No, but I mean, there is. But I don't like general seating, but I mean, there always is at shows. But I'm like, it's just, like you said, like the state troopers came out and maced the crowd, but one of the articles said they asked the police, like, what happened? Was there not enough people? Said, no, there was like 300 to 500 uniformed police there. 100, like, police that were hired as private security. Mm-hmm. Then the security from the place. Like he said, there was plenty of security. There was literally more there than at the World Series. But they were afraid to tell them to end the show because they were afraid people would then riot and it would be worse. Yeah. So they thought it was better to leave it, let it happen, and deal with it than pull the plugs and then have everybody lose their mind because you don't know what's going on. Right. So then people like lose their minds.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel there has to have been a way to prevent that from happening. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like that.
And I guess earlier in the day, the gates, people stormed the gates. Like at 2. So they think there was more than the 50,000 people because they think people, when that happened, they think people got in that didn't have tickets to the show. So they know 50,000 bought tickets, but they don't know how many actually breached.
We're in there. Yeah. That's just a bad situation. I feel so bad for those poor people that happened to. On a lighter note, we're in the holiday season. Mm-hmm. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Diwali. Happy Kwanzaa. And all the other above. Yeah. My son is obsessed with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so we watched Die Hard today. The original everyday Die Hard. Never gets old for me. And it's a Christmas movie. I'm just putting that out there. It's clearly a Christmas movie. Mm-hmm. We have Christmas music, Christmas trees, Santa Claus is in it. The gun is taped with Christmas wrapping. So it's clearly a Christmas movie.
Saves Christmas.
He saves Christmas. And it happens on Christmas Eve. It's a Christmas movie. Okay. It's a Christmas movie, just saying. If you have any debate about that, feel free to email us, but it's a Christmas movie. And anything you'd like to add for this lovely Christmas season? A holiday season, excuse me.
Holiday season? I don't think so.
No. I'm kind of excited this year.
I can't wait to decorate. But like this is coming out after I will already have
This is coming out way after we've decorated.
And I'll be ready to put
because it's actually we're recording 4 days before Thanksgiving. So I am very excited. We went shopping yesterday, Newburyport, which looked like something right out of a Dickens novel. Last night I came home and I was like, Brian, it was so pretty up there and it was cold and crisp. It was great.
It was so cute.
Which makes me spend money, which I don't really need to do.
No, neither do I. I have way too many decorations.
But I love it.
But by the time this comes out, I'll be like, I need this shit to go away and I don't want any
That's why,
out.
you do it. You live your truth. You want to decorate for Christmas in August, it's your business. Yes. For me, I can't stand the sight of the decorations by Christmas time. No. Like, I'm done with the clutter and the mess and the dust. I
just want everything back to nothing out.
Yes. Yeah. And so if I were to have those out for 2 months, I'd be homicidal.
I don't know how people do it.
Nope.
I don't know how you look at it.
Somebody told me the other night that they decorated for Halloween in August. In
I
August.
don't even decorate for
Why
Halloween.
do we have to rush everything?
I don't know.
Isn't life going fast enough?
It is.
Why do we have to
do
rush
fall, it? You could do maybe fall decorations at the
I do them
very
after
end of
Labor Day.
August.
I'm
I would
very
wait till
precise.
after Labor Day.
Labor Day, my leaves go
Because
out.
that's the end of
Yes.
summer.
October 1st, Halloween goes out.
Why are we rushing? Summer's only 2 months. Why are we rushing?
I don't know. I don't want to see pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns in fucking August. I
No.
don't.
No. It's still beach stuff.
It is. It's just, I don't know why you would do that.
No.
And I couldn't even control myself. I'm like, why did you do that? Why would you do that? She's like, it was a little early. I'm like, you think?
Like months.
It's
months
like
early.
2.5 months early. Why would you do
You can't decorate for Halloween until October.
Exactly.
Minimum.
Exactly. It ruins it. It just ruins it. All right. So enjoy. And we'll see
Happy New
you.
Year.
I don't know when this is coming out, between episodes, after episodes,
so
but
Merry
we'll
Christmas.
see. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Diwali, all of the
of it.
above, and have a great one. Bye.
Like, subscribe, rate, and review the Scissors and Scrubs podcast on whatever podcast app you listen to us on. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Scissors and Scrubs. And email us any of your stories or thoughts to scissorsnscrubs@gmail.com.